So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra Kane. I am sitting here with Donovan, it must be something about your name lately. The recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. It is Wednesday. It's so many names we've given it. Where's Walter Wednesday? He's supposed to be here. Him and Terrell, will they pop up? I don't know. But guess what? Me and Donovan are here. But nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Also, like to say a big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, you are family, and sometimes we share the link. All I ask is if I do share the link, which I don't know if I will today because maybe Walter and Terrell will show up, we'll see. But if I do share the link, and who is this? Channel H Dunbar. I want you to click the link. But nevertheless, if I do share it and your profile looks like this and I've never seen you on here before, please show me this. And then if you're uncomfortable, go back to this. Just know that no one else but me can see you, not even Donovan, until I bring you up to the big screen. I also ask that we are very respectful to each other in the comment section and on the panel, as sometimes, often, we disagree. But it's not that you disagree, it's how you disagree. What else do I want to? Oh, I guess I should tell you why we're here. So, of course, it was day 2 of the DNC, Democratic National Convention, where they are going to nominate, and they have yesterday they did the roll call for all the states to nominate officially Vice President Kamala Harris for the presidential candidate for the Democrats. So this is day 2, and Barack Obama spoke, and so he basically showed up to the DNC to convince people to vote for Kamala Harris. I hope y'all like that thumbnail that I put together for y'all, because as someone said on here, it is very telling. Right off the rip, let's see who's here before I give it to Donovan, because as you guys know, I will try to get all of you guys' comments the best I can, but it just hasn't been able to do it lately. But anyway, Billy Danz, how you doing? You like that thumbnail, huh? Christopher, how you doing? Yep, you're absolutely right. Let's see, and Channel H Dunbar, I hope you're here to click the link. Miss Sweets, how you doing? Bogani, what's going on with you? Hey, Thunder, hope you're doing well. Sister Shirley, what's going on? Samuel C, hope you're doing well. Beverly White, what's going on? Arneva, hope you're having a great day. Mike Nice, that he has all the catchy phrases, you know. Let's see here. CJ, how you doing? Mr. Jackson, what's going on with you? So, I know I'll be forgetting to unblank my screen. Donovan, how are you?
Yes, I am doing fine. 101 degrees here in Riverside, California, in the desert, starting of the desert as you go into Mojave. So welcome back, you guys. It is Where is Walter? Wednesdays. Hopefully he'll show up. If he doesn't, hey, we're still going to keep you guys educated and entertained. So thank you guys for joining us this evening, this afternoon. Do us a favor. There's a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to donate and help the channel go a little farther and keep the content creator motivated, there's ways you can do that. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, check, however you guys want to do it. We would really appreciate it. And it does take time to make these videos and have these great discussions and this platform. So again, thank you, Demetra, for hosting us overall on the platform. Also, don't forget the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can download it at Google Play and also at Apple Store. You can get it, download it. You can see great videos. Demetra K, Vicki Dillard, Brother Phil Scott, the African correspondents in Africa to keep us up to date with what's going on there. You can't go wrong with it. If the app's not your thing, because I'm a little older person myself, these apps are getting on my nerves. You can still come to YouTube. Become a member there, subscribe. I believe to me, the most economical subscription is the yearly subscription. That way, every month, you don't have to worry about your card being charged, whatever. Just go ahead and get the yearly subscription. To me, it's cheaper to do it that way. Strongly recommend it, and you will continue to get these great videos. How many of you guys saw today, Demetra put out a great video on why we don't talk about Donald Trump in the new Black media in general. If you guys haven't seen that, go to the YouTube channel, check out the African Diaspora News Channel, and you're going to see the video right there. And she's going to explain it to you. But thank you guys for tuning in. Lady Diana, welcome back. Samuel C, of course, Mike Nice, Betty Booker, Lene Marie. Thank you guys for coming on. And just do us a favor, hit that like button on the way in as well, and share this on your platforms. Demetra, let's talk about the DNC and what actually happened over there.
All right, so I watched pretty much a lot of it, and Samuel, see, you say you're not watching the DNC. You know what? I don't blame you. It wasn't really anything spectacular. Of course, they did it was a different roll call. Roll call is, hey Troy, how you doing? A roll call is basically when they ask all the states to, basically say that they're giving their support, their delegates on the, the Democrats rather, to a certain candidate. So they all showed up to say that they were giving it to Kamala Harris, but they had what's his name? Oh, the DJ. I just slipped my mind. I was just right there. Y'all tell me. He does pass the mic. I can't. It just slipped my mind. Y'all tell me. But anyway, so who is it? Oh, so anyway, hey Don, Corey, how you doing? Jupiter. So anyway, what he was doing, the every state he played a song, I guess, that represented their state. Lil Jon showed up from Georgia and turned down for what is the song that he did. So that took, I don't know, probably about an hour and a half or so to do that. And they had a copious amount of speakers. I heard that Patti LaBelle and Common spoke. I spoke sung, although I didn't see Cassidy. Yes, DJ Cassidy. Hey, Easy. And Andre, I hope I said that right. I know I said it wrong. But anyway, so some of those speakers were Barack Obama, Michelle, and, a couple of people here and there. But of course, Barack Obama, I guess, was considered to be the keynote speaker. And this is the end of what he said. Now, again, I hope y'all paid close attention to my thumbnail that I put up there, because I think you guys pretty much know where I'm going with that. Here we go.
Of what Lincoln called, on the eve of civil war, are bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about. And I believe that's why, if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors, if we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States, and Tim Walz as the next vice president of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in, and together we too will build a country that is more secure and more just, more equal and more free. So let's get to work. God bless you.
All right, so you saw that was Barack Obama, and of course his speech sounded to me, for those of y'all who may have watched, just like his own campaign speeches. It was very hope and changing. In fact, his wife, Michelle Obama, spoke before he did, and she, basically said Barack Obama, who is of hope and change. And of course, we know that hope and change has never been defined by anybody, right? It was Obama's catchphrase, and everybody ran around saying it, hope and change, hope and change. And Ann Coulter actually brought that up, saying that it was never defined. Nobody ever asked him to define it. So again, there he was with the whole, yes, we can. Of course, they started to boo, and he says, don't boo, vote, like he used to when he was running. Of course, he took Donald Trump to task, same message, basically saying that he's trying to take us back. Said that he only cared about himself, the rich, all the tax cuts he's trying to do and things like that. But I put that thumbnail up with Obama holding a glass of water. Of course, that was when he visited Flint, Michigan. When Flint, Michigan, we all learned about the water crisis. Of course, that their water source was diverted from a good source to a bad source, and caused the people of Flint a lot of problems. So Obama, he was president then, he went to Flint and said, oh, the water's good now, you can drink it. And of course, he's showing himself drinking it, which I doubt. I don't know. It could have been that he was actually drinking that water. Well, to this day, Flint still has water issues. Their water is not up to par. In fact, it is very subpar. It still have a lot of issues, a long way to go. So anyway, I'm going to add Walter and Terrell to the stage. I'm going to meet you guys' mic. So I see a lot of y'all have come on here. I'm gonna try to my best to get to the comment section. Negroes, how you doing? So Donovan, I know you watched?
I did.
What's your opinion?
I did. Again, great music. You know, they didn't have the twerkers like I was expecting. I didn't get the no voting, no fucking. I didn't get any of that. I was kind of disappointed. I didn't get the Hollywood shuffle. I didn't get anything that the Democrats usually do when they're pandering to black people. But one thing I did notice, they never talked vision. They never talked policy. They never talked about what they're going to do. I kept hearing how great this Girl Scout named Kamala Harris is and how she stands up for the fighting person and all of this stuff. But that's good and great. That was back then. And if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, you don't. But where was the policy? Not one speaker has gotten up and said, oh, the economy is great. They're all talking about when she gets in the office. If she gets elected to office, this is what she's going to do. Do you guys realize she is in the White House right now? Why do we have to wait to elect her to get her in there? She can get it done right now. Everybody's saying, and this is what killed me about it. Bernie Sanders gets up there and he says, people are suffering. People are doing this. People don't have money. People don't. I mean, he's making it sound like it's a total disaster. And I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm saying, he's talking about the current administration and where people are at right now. And at the same time, he's asking people to put the same exact people to fix the problem that exists today. It just didn't make sense to me. No vision, no policy. We're in a race to the bottom because when I see all of these people that can't pay their rent, that keep complaining about the prices of groceries and the inflation, and you're still going to vote for Kamala Harris, we have mental health is real, you guys. Let me just say that. Mental health is real. All right.
Absolutely. And hello to everybody that's come on here. See Love, how you doing? Yeah, be careful out there, Brother Reggie. I know you said that you are driving. Laverne, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I am reading you guys' comments. Raymond, what's up? And TT Baby, I think. You said Twilight Zone, how you doing? Brenda Starr. He says, all skin folk ain't kin folk. This man done nothing for African Americans, and Harris' team is going to bring the same. We must stop putting these people in high places. And Caramel, how you doing? Says, so who you think is going to fix things? Well, I'm glad that you asked, and I hope that we will remember that question. The average logical thinking, how you doing? Says, what Obama spoke about Trump's presidency was exactly what we got this last 4 years. Yep. Jupiter says, Demetra, check out that email I sent you. Laugh out loud and defiant lawyer. Okay, when did you send it to me? Jason Peters, how you doing? Says the show is about to be fireworks. Good evening, Demetra, K, and Recovery Democrat. We also have Walter and Terrell on here in Kingdom of Garvin. How are you doing, brother? Roy, no reparations, no vote. All right, Walter, Terrell, did y'all watch any of the Democratic convention yesterday or the day before?
I have to unmute my mic first. What was that song that the old black dude sang? Hail to the no. I saw a YouTube clip. I couldn't do it. And like Donovan said, I was
hell no to the no.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the highlights, D.
He saw
to the no to the no.
I was waiting for Megan to put on those tight ass pants and turn it around. That's all I want to see out of the DNC. Oh man, no, I haven't seen it. I'm gonna watch the highlights. But
so okay, so y'all didn't.
Good, though.
Yeah, Obama looks good. Michelle looked good, and all of that. For me, I watched it and I fell asleep on Obama. Admittedly, I had to wake up and watch it again this morning because he talks kind of slow or whatever. He has some rise and fall, but nevertheless, I re-listened to it, and I'm like, even Obama didn't give us a good reason other than Trump, to vote for Kamala. They didn't say, you know, there's going to be a chicken in every pot. He also went along with the, you know, she's for the people, she's a servant, and basically, you know, Trump is selfish. That's kind of was his talking points all night. Of course, the crowd was really into it, but let's keep it a buck at the DNC. So everybody there is probably a Democrat, right? So there's no secret there, but maybe tonight. Oh, and then her husband spoke. Said how much in love he was with her, and she just, you know, how they met, and you know, all that other stuff. Yeah.
Kamala's husband?
Yeah, Kamala's husband, you know, and nothing wrong to it, but, you know, he didn't mention how he impregnated the nanny like Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that stuff, and he shouldn't have mentioned it.
I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. He goes, you know, I have two beautiful children, and, you know, with their mother, and unfortunately, we didn't last. We got a divorce, and then I met Kamala. I was like, nah, you glossed over the juicy part. You got the nanny pregnant.
She got the nanny pregnant?
Yeah. That's what the word on Daily Mail is.
Mm-hmm.
If I may interject.
Absolutely.
So I personally, I can't stand Kamala Harris for a lot of different reasons. I have strong opinions about her, and I don't think she's a Black American. She doesn't share our experiences.
Right.
However, I do believe that her husband's sex life, her sex life should be off limits. There's enough about Kamala Harris that is inadequate for the position that she currently holds and the one she's trying to hold. There's enough about her that's inadequate that we can leave her sex life off the table and just focus on policy and her career.
Right. I agree with you. However, I agree with you. However, if you've been watching the DNC, all they've been bringing up is Trump with a porn star, Trump doing this, Trump doing that. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So if they don't want to bring that up, I mean, for the last 4 years, all we've been hearing about is how horrible Trump is, whatever. Mm-hmm. We haven't been hearing policy. We haven't been hearing that. So I agree with you. It shouldn't matter because, you know, we got baby mamas and baby daddies running all around here, you know, multiple, you know, families running around here. It shouldn't matter. But the fact of the matter is you don't throw a rock and hide your hand when you're doing just the same. Nobody wants to hear about Kamala running around with a married man and sleeping to her way to the top. But those are the facts. But you don't hear the Republicans saying it and bringing it up. You hear the Democrats. Trump did this. Trump's a sleazebag. Oh, he was with a porn star. He cheated on his wife.
So I also agree with you too. However, it's clear that Donald Trump is playing in a different game by different rules, because last I checked, she gets 89% favorable news coverage and he gets 84% negative. So when he throws those same stones, it gets twisted. He's being evil. He's being devilish, and it works against him. So
let me rebut that. The reason why she's getting such favorable coverage, what I believe there's only 6 major news networks in the United States owned by like 2 or 3 families, right?
Mm-hmm.
So CNN, MSNBC, which is basically left-wing Democratic propaganda spill. Fox is the left to the right side. This is why they're doing it. Again, when you control the media, like the Democrats do, you're going to get favorable things. I mean, matter of fact, the left just came out and said the poll numbers that they put out, that she's so far ahead of Trump and all this other stuff. How can a woman who, before she took over for Biden, was so unfavorable, all of a sudden she becomes the selected nominee? Now she's just this golden girl and whatever. They had to come out last week and say they misreported the poll numbers. She is not ahead. Matter of fact, she is actually behind. They actually came out and said that.
She's getting her ass whooped. She's not behind. Behind would be an understatement. She's getting her ass whooped.
Not only just 4 months ago or 2 months ago, in recent history, they were talking about replacing her because she was so unfavorable, right? And we can go back 3.5 years ago. The woman never polled more than 2% nationally. She dropped out before Super Tuesday, right? And she dropped, which because she was trailing, she was coming in like 5th in her own state of California. She is not a likable person. But that brings me back to the DNC. They're promoting Kamala because she's not Trump. They can't.
I mean, that's it. I mean,
Yeah, but you can't win off of that, because again, if we go back to those times that you were talking about, people, do you guys realize Elizabeth Warren got 8% of the black vote in the Democratic primary? Do you guys want to know how much Kamala got? 1%.
Less than that.
1%.
Yeah.
I mean, very unpopular person. She, those of us here in California, she's going to have a hard time winning here in California because of her record here.
You know who's going to vote for her? White liberals.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. But see, and this is just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. Kamala Harris is nothing more than a crash test dummy. This is not the Democrats' best candidate. Nobody wanted to select her. The donors didn't even want her to be selected. But I think Biden gave them the big finger by endorsing her to where it made them forced to take Kamala as that person.
Right. Well, we shall see. I want to get somebody made a comment here about the Trump 2025 plan. First of all, that's not Trump's plan. One thing about the media is you want to watch both sides. The Heritage Foundation is who came up with the 2025 plan. Trump has spoke at the Heritage Foundation, just like he spoke at the National Association for Black Journalists. Now, if they come up with some wacko plan 4 years later, kill Whitey, and was like, oh, it's Trump's plan because he spoke at one of our events, we wouldn't buy into that. So the 2025 plan is not Donald Trump's plan. And I've heard him say more than once, that's not my plan. I'm not familiar with all of it, and I don't agree with it. It's kind of, he's even said it's far right. So if you want to kind of take some of that stuff and kind of just do some more research on it, we can get through a lot of the noise. And like to Donovan's point, they've come up with, I've heard her say, well, I've heard through other outlets, like she wants to tax unrealized gains. I don't even know how you do that. I bought this mic for $2 and I haven't sold it, but yeah, I'm going to pay tax because it's worth $5. Raising corporate income tax. Like, what's it looking like right now with the layoffs and the company struggling as it is? Now, every company ain't struggling. But when you raise the income tax on the person that's paying everybody, all they're going to do is speed up the AI and the robot dummies. They're not, like, that money's not going to ever go back to the people. So they haven't spoke any policies yet. And as usual, Black people will be at the bottom of the totem pole, hugging the Indians' feet with nothing, not a pot to piss in.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
I don't know what that means. But go ahead.
The totem pole, you know, the Indian.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the totem pole. Hey, Jay, thank you so much for the donation.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I missed the analogy.
Hey, Jay, thank you for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. It says the Heritage Foundation came up with Obamacare too. And it's been around for a very long time. It's not something new. It's just something people are starting to talk about. But it is. It's a hypothetical. It's something they want to do. It's not legislation or anything like that. Now, admittedly, it sounds like some of those people that authored that of Project 2025 know Trump and was, working in the White House or on his campaign team at one time or another. But he has denied being a part of that. He actually has an Agenda 47, which I read it, and it kind of reads along the lines of some of Project 2025. Some of it I don't have a problem with. Some of it I do. But he does have an Agenda 47. You can see that on his website.
D, may I ask a question?
Sure.
So when Trump said that he had nothing to do with 2025, it's not his agenda, I really didn't dive. I didn't do a deep dive into it. So can you guys educate me? Can you tell me what's wrong with Project 2025?
Admittedly,
If it was Trump's, what's wrong with it?
If it was Trump's,
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
well, there are parts of it that is totally unrealistic in what they're going to try to do. Good example,
like the gold standard.
Oh, give me
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Give me-
yeah,
give me-
like the
give me
gold
one.
standard, trying to do all that. But I would say one of the biggest things of the 2025 list
Wait,
is
are they trying to go back to the gold standard?
no.
Well, they want to tie the dollar to the gold, back to gold, but we have too much. There's too much money printed. There's way more money than gold.
Okay, can I ask y'all a question? They want to tie the dollar back to gold. Who else was trying to do that in on the continent in Africa?
Yeah, and that was Gaddafi. Yeah, that was Gaddafi. Yeah.
What happened to him?
Well, yeah, they killed him because when you tie the dollar back to gold, then we have to account for all the loose money out there. And if there's no way that's going to happen, that would crash the economy.
BRICS? I mean, I know BRICS is not necessarily gold, but it's not the dollar.
Well, I mean, that's just Brazil, Russia, India, and China, if I'm correct.
And there's a whole lot of other countries that's joined as well. That's just the name of it, but they're trying to get away from the dollar as well, create their own currency. So, I mean, admittedly, I haven't read Project 2025. I just felt like, what was the point? Because I don't want to be stuck reading 900 pages, but it's not something that's law. It's something that belongs. It's a think tank. The Heritage Foundation is a think tank. And hold on. And think tanks, there's probably at least over 100 of think tanks in Washington, some Republican, some Democrat, and everything else in between. So it's nothing unusual.
Yeah. Okay, the reason why I asked my question, because if there's a negative connotation about the Project 2025, I automatically assume that white liberals and their black allies were talking about it being racist towards black people. So is there anything specific outside of any monetary opinion? Is there anything like socially that black Americans can construe as being racist? That's what I want to know.
Well, part of 2025 was the revamping of the welfare system and the child support system, which encouraged people to be locked up. We're not a debtor nation, but yet now black men and absentee parents, non-custodial parents, can be locked up because they can't pay their child support. That was something that was in the early 90s of the Heritage Foundation.
Is that in 2025?
Yeah, what they're basically using 2025 is as a scare tactic. They're just trying to scare people into the polls because, just like that old saying, you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. What are the chances anybody's going to read 2025? Almost 0 to none. But another thing of the Heritage Foundation that's 2025 that the Democrats don't talk about, and by the way, the mass incarceration that Joe Biden wrote and Bill Clinton signed was also an idea of the Heritage Foundation, and they all put it into possession, but they never talk about that part of what they've done in part in helping destroy black culture and black families. They never talk about that part. They just say 2025, he gonna put you back in chains and all. It's a scare tactic, and that's all it is. It's not policy.
Okay. And Clinton added to the Reagan. Reagan started the whole war on drugs. Clinton put the lid on it by coming. I mean, you guys all know this. You take 2 drugs, you put cocaine in the white neighborhoods and crack in the black ones, and you create the crack laws. No one goes to jail for cocaine. I don't know one person ever that's been in trouble for having cocaine. Not one person.
Easy. You know what? You actually draw a great correlation. You says Heritage Foundation Project 2025, nothing but racist think tank looking out for the future of whites. Only all their members have copies of the Turner Diaries. Yeah, I could see how that will correlate. If you don't know what the Turner Diaries are, you can listen to it on YouTube. It's very KKK to say lack of better words, and all about all the people they hate, including us, and what they're going to do. They're gearing up to get ready for A, B, C, and D. So yeah, easy. I can see how you would draw that connection.
But even another thing I wanted to bring up really quick, and I digress. The whole thing about child support and taking care of your kids, why does that bother black people? Let's say that was in the law. Like, if you don't take care of your kids, you're going to jail. Shouldn't that be a law? Or shouldn't we get close to that? I mean, listen, I have 6 kids, and that was hard as hell to see all of them and participate. But why do black people, why do we respond to stuff like that? Let's say they came out with the law that says, if you have kids and we prove you are the parent, if you don't take care of them, we're going to lock your ass up. What would be wrong with that? Why does that bother black people? And why is that even an issue for us? It makes me...
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The problem with that law when they enacted it, they didn't grandfather themselves in it. So all those absentee fathers from the 80s and the 70s, they weren't subjected to going to jail for leaving their families.
Yeah, so I don't believe that would be an issue for us. And I think go
ahead. I'm sorry.
We should be more aggressive with taking care of our kids. For reals. I don't think that's an issue. I think, matter of fact, is if there's going to be a law, it should be like, hey, if you have a kid, you are forced to be in that kid's life. That would be the kind of laws I would support. You're forced to be with the kid, see the kid, and that would stop the crazy ass mamas for acting a fool.
Well, I got a better question for you. Then since the Democratic Party is for women's rights and all this other stuff, what about the men's rights? Why aren't they pushing mandatory DNA so we don't have these problems and these absent fathers and these messed up child support systems in place? Why isn't both parties saying, you know what, it makes sense to have mandatory DNA? If DNA can get a man off death row, why shouldn't it get him from paying child support for a child that ain't his?
Which is pretty much death row in the pockets.
That's funny. Patrick, thank you so much. He says they always on the project the F with black people. I want to say this before I give it to you, Terrell. I want to say this, regardless of what project they have, okay? Because it's like you said, and I love that, Patrick. There's always a project to F with us. The ultimate project was slavery, right? And we've been suffering the remnants of that. But at the end of the day, while we are waiting for our reparations, because we're going to get it, we need to organize. We need to do for self. We need to minimize. I'm going to put y'all on mute because y'all up here laughing. I'm going to eat y'all lunch for that one too. While we wait for our reparations, there are things that we need to do. We know that we see about $2 trillion, give or take, in our community in America every year, but we give 97% of that away. So some of that is on us. Again, we need our money, but no one else is going to be affected by, if there is a Project 2025 or whatever it is coming in. Nobody's going to be more affected by it than us. The Asians, Hispanics, whites, they're not going to be affected by that as much as we are, right? Now, somebody sent me a chapter, and I did read some of it in regards to what they're trying to do as far as the books and things like that, taking them out of school. That doesn't bother me at all, because like I said, I've always been a parent that taught my daughter knowledge of self. She's never, ever gone to no white school, nowhere she's ever gone, and had them teach her about herself. No other race expects for a school system to teach them about being Jewish, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, or anything else. We are the only ones that get our enough not, because the white school system won't teach our black children about being black. And as I always say, they're not going to teach you right no way. So good that Miss Ann, Karen, or Ken ain't gonna be standing up in front of a classroom trying to teach your kids about slavery. Because as I told y'all, my daughter's in the 5th grade, I cracked that book open when I went to her teacher, student, or a parent night or whatever, and they basically said that slavery was all right. And I walked my ass up to the front of the classroom. I said, please do not teach my daughter this, because she does not know this version of slavery. And she did not. So there's other things that we need to get on with, like educating our own children and saving our money so we can not be affected by that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Again, my question is, what is negative to black people about Project 2025? I haven't read it. I've just watched the media.
I believe that was my question.
Well, so
okay, let me ask y'all.
The question is,
hold on. Let's put it in reverse. Who said that? I can't remember the name of the song anyway. But anyway, what's positive about it for black people?
No, I don't know much about the law. It's the only one I've heard in the news. But I'm saying, what is?
Y'all was asking like, what's wrong with it?
No, I'm saying I don't really understand what it is. But I keep hearing people talk about it like, oh, it's going to hurt black people. What in the law? What in the project is going to hurt black people? And I haven't heard anyone say what that is.
Yeah, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. It's a scare tactic. So, It's almost like they're saying you're going to be back in slavery and all this other stuff. With all the guns in the hood in the neighborhoods, they actually believe black people are going to just walk into to the fields and just be slaves. It's just not going to happen, But it goes to show you it's a race to the bottom when it comes to knowledge of self in this country and how people don't think logically. Black people are not going to go be slaves to anybody at this point because the civil unrest would be unreal. The civil unrest would be unreal.
You don't need them to be slaves. You need them to do what they're doing now, is be mental slaves. Like, I'll give you a case in point. When Donald Trump almost got killed and Joe Biden was up there, himmy haw, Jimmy crack corning, people were like, okay, it's over. They put Kamala in office or in the position, and all of a sudden, black people all over the world, we got to protect our sister, or black women are riding for this chick. And I heard her say out of her own mouth, and I have a black mama, and I have a lot of black females in my life. And when she say, let me be clear, anything that comes after that is not positive for you. And so Kamala was, let me be clear, I'm not doing shit for black people. And anything I do for the people is going to be positive for black people anyways. But yet people still riding for this chick.
Obama had the same sentiment years ago when he was first elected. But before I forget, I want to go back because you were talking. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the comments. But there was some association with the Heritage Foundation and racism and KKK. That's a comment you were just reading, right?
Oh no, Brother Easy brought up the correlation between the Turner Diaries and the Project 2025, and I said I could see how he would say that, because Turner Diaries is it's a fictional book, but it's pretty much like a layout for white supremacists and how to deal with everybody that's not like them, right? They're preparing for this war, like this race war, right? It's
who authored the Turner Diaries?
I can't remember his name, but I know I think he lived in Orange County, California, if I'm not mistaken. His name escapes me, but
Fallbrook.
It's Fallbrook.
Mm-hmm. By the Marine Corps base.
Yeah. But it's an old book. It's been around for some time, but it's pretty much like a blueprint for white supremacists, but it's fictional.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So is there an association with the Heritage Foundation and white supremacy and racism?
Again, I can't really speak to it because I didn't read it, but from some of the things that I have seen, I could see how a person would draw that correlation. I mean, I can't really speak to it, so it would be fair for me to try to do that. But I can get the correlation from Brother Easy in that it's a blueprint. So some people
because the reason why I'm asking is because one of my idols, Thomas Sowell, he's a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. So he's one of the most brilliant black men walking the earth right now. So I doubt.
Is he the one that's also saying that reparations is not feasible for Black Americans? Is that his standpoint?
I'm not sure if it's feasible because that's more of a monetary. I believe he says it's not necessary, it's not mandatory, and it won't help us. Which I'm against reparations myself as well.
Yeah, and Dr. Thomas Sowell, he's got, and again, this is going to be a Project 2025 conversation. What I mean by that is if you sit down and watch Dr. Sowell's full content, full interviews, he breaks it all down. It's clear as day. He has a really good interview on YouTube. It's old. It's about an hour long, and he breaks down his reasoning for why he doesn't think reparations will work. His point being, in 1920s, 40s, Black people were on the move faster than any other race in the country. We were on track. We were unstoppable. It wasn't until civil rights where the Black race slowed down. We took the man out the home. The government stepped in, and here come Margaret Sanger, the abortions, all that stuff. His point was, before any of that talk, when we just let the man and the woman raise their kids and go out and get it, Black people were on a trajectory that was unstoppable. It wasn't until the civil rights movements. And by the way, y'all Negroes need us, so let us come help you. That's when shit fell apart. So his theory on reparation is along those lines. If Black people get together and just do what they know how to do, we won't need that. Now, we're not going to catch up in the wealth gap. That's history. So if anything, for me, reparations would help with that.
I disagree with that.
Well, immediately, it's not going to help us.
Specifically, Thomas Sowell talks about the hidden century, 1865 to 1965. Every metric in Black life got better. Infant mortality, education, literacy, income, the wealth gap, and most importantly, Black children being raised by both mom and dad. And white liberals and their Black allies, they do their best to diminish the role of the Black father. And like Walter just said, all those positive numbers were turned on their head after 1965, when white liberals got their fangs in Black families. And everything Black America related, based on empirical data, has gotten worse for us while we are in a less racist society. It doesn't make sense. And I always tie Thomas Sowell's theory of the hidden century to Bob Woodson's statement when he says, when white people were at their worst in this country, Black people we were at our best. But through propaganda, media, those same white teachers, academia, Hollywood, you name it. Can she hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm doing walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. I'm in the comments.
Okay.
I'm listening to you. I'm just waiting graciously to respond.
Okay.
So, and this is a good. You come back to this comment. Terrell made a really good point, and it went over most of y'all heads. He said we are in a less racist society. That is 100% true. I guarantee you. Me and this dude we put on some suits. We can walk anywhere in our area, anywhere. We put on some suits and get out the car. You have to beat them all back. It's nonsense.
All right,
I'll give you.
Okay, just 1 second, Vaughn. The Indians are doing, for the most part, better than Black people here. They've gotten reparations. Anytime you go take your mama to the casino, that's a form of reparations.
Okay, Indians aren't doing better.
No, they're not. No,
casino owners doing better.
Okay, I'm gonna address that comment.
They got a reservation. A reservation.
I'm gonna address that
comment. They got a reservation.
Yeah, but there's a few Indians doing well. Most of them are alcoholics.
Who fault is that?
I'm saying most of the Indians on the reservation, they're alcoholics. I know because I have some Indian clients. They're alcoholics. I know
that, but what does that got to do with? With anything?
The point being is they got reparations, and the money went to the top, and most of those Indians are drunk on the reservation. It's a true fact.
Well, here's the fact. Here's the fact. Native Americans are considered sovereign nations. They have standing treaties with the United States. In that treaty, the United States guaranteed their livelihood and all that other stuff and whatever else that comes with it. Thus, in areas where casinos cannot exist in the United States, they can exist on the reservation. They get treated as sovereign citizens or sovereign nations, and they have standing treaties, whereas Blacks do not have that as former slaves. And when it comes to reparations, and I hear what you guys are saying, but I always have this saying when it comes to reparations. Give me my $500 million and I'll form my own opinion if I don't need it or not, if it's not a good situation. I just want to form my own opinion. I don't want anybody to tell me I don't need reparations. Just give me the money first, then I'll tell you if I need it or not.
Well, I like the idea of giving land as a reparation. That is a phenomenal idea. I think I'm on board with giving us the land, which was actually written down and promised before Abraham was killed by a Democrat, by the way. So I'm cool with that. I think that would make 100% give you the land and you guys do what you want with it. It's on you this time. I love that idea. But giving Black people each $5 million, that's buffoonery. Ain't gonna ever happen. And the fact that we even believe that just makes us look like idiots.
Let me jump on in here, y'all. So y'all hold on in the comment section. I'm trying to do both. So I heard y'all, your time. I'm gonna mute y'all. Your timeline of what happened with the Black family, this, that, and the other. Those things are very true, right? The dilapidation of the Black family actually started when we were put on those plantations, and we recovered for a while. During after slavery, we had our own towns. Of course, we know what happened with that. White people, very jealous, went and burnt every last one of them down, destroyed, took the land, and everything else in between, which is another reason why we need our reparations. So while all those things have gone on, our ancestors was robbed of that money. The labor was stolen from them. Generational wealth was stolen from us. It will take us 232 years to catch up to the wealth of white people, mostly because we were robbed of those reparations. And in that same vein, a lot of these good people y'all roll around with is descendants of Massa, and they got their generational wealth off of the backs of our people. So it irks me dearly. I don't even know that's probably oxymoron. When I hear people talking about, especially our people, talking about we don't need reparations. What kind of stuff is that? We don't need reparations. We see everybody and their mama come over here and get reparations, but it's always Black people that got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. What the hell you think our ancestors was doing during those Wall Streets, Rosewoods, Allentowns, and Slocums, and everywhere else? They was pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. In fact, they came up off of those plantations without no damn bootstraps. And so we here in 2024, Black Americans are fighting for reparations, which is why a lot of us will not vote for Kamala. A lot of us ain't in love with Trump either, but she damn sure ain't getting our vote because she comes from a party, the Democrats, that benefit from the Black vote, and they take our Black vote and they go do for everybody else but Black people. So we are saying no more until you do something specifically for us. And the debt is immeasurable. But if you want to start at about $20 trillion plus interest, we'll take it. But as far as y'all talking about we don't need reparations, y'all need to get in them books.
But see, here's the point.
Am I going to be able to interject?
Yeah, in a second.
Because there's so much going on, I can't even reply to
y'all better come with it because I'm getting raisin lemon juice.
We're missing the point, though. We're missing the point. It ain't about need or not need. The question is it even on the table? Is it feasible? So we can keep talking about reparations for 100 years.
How much did Israel get?
Let me finish.
How much they spending on the migrants?
But see, here's the thing, though. They have the vote. They have the power. Black people keep putting these people in power that ain't gonna do shit.
Did you not hear nothing I said? I just said all of that.
That's what I'm saying. But you talking about Israel? Israel, they have the money, the power. They have the money to go into Congress and to go in these government offices and move the ball. That's why Israel's getting money. Hunter Biden's kicking in Ukraine. That's why they're getting money. Black people refuse to vote for the people that are going to at least even the playing field. So until we do that, ain't nothing going to change. We can talk about reparations till the cows come home. In my opinion on reparations is give us land, go back to our ancestors, go back in the family tree. Here's what we were going to give you guys, and take that dollar amount and spread it up the tree. Period. And land. Black people, each one of us getting $1 million is insane. It's never going to happen. Even if we wanted it, no one's going to do that. So the fact we keep talking about something that ain't going to ever happen is insane to me. Let's put together a plan that makes more sense. Go back to your ancestors, 200 years, 100, whatever it was. Here's what we owed you guys then. If you want to add inflation, fine. But that's it. We're done with this conversation. Not every Black person getting $5 million. That was a distraction. Black people fell for it. And then Gavin Newsom was like, just kidding. But we're still voting for him.
Well, I'm not voting for him. And there's a whole lot of us that are not voting for him. In the meantime, yes,
it's on you now.
We need to organize and do what we got to do for self. But we still want our motherfucking money. At the end of the day, we want our money like everybody else getting their money. And as I said, everybody else coming over here over these borders and getting their money. We want our money. So we're not never going to be believe, where they going to get the money from? Oh, they don't got the money. We see them spending money every day. So until you write a check, then, I agree. Black people need to stop voting.
With people with power are getting the money. Jews,
we got the power. We got the power. We have the power. We just misappropriate the power. That's the problem. But then we never, especially not on this show, gonna talk about we don't need our money. We want our money every dime.
The migrants have more power than Black people in the USA. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be even here in California. They get money everywhere. New York, Chicago. But what Chicago? See, here's how cold the Democrats are. Chicago's wrecked by the migrants. And what do they have the DNC? In Chicago, you dumb Negroes, not only are we going to throw the migrants in your face, we're going to throw the party in your backyard.
But let me ask this
before you jump in, Donovan, because I can see irritation in your face. I have a lot of people from Chicago who watch the show, and in fact, they reach out to me about what's going on. So I don't ever want to call them dumb Negroes, because it's just not black people in Chicago.
No, it's not them dumb. I'm saying the Democrats are saying you guys are dumb Negroes.
Got you.
But let me add this though. See, here's the thing, and I hear what you're saying, Walter, and because you're speaking outside of the matrix, but in the matrix, we're sitting here and we're talking about dream. If we don't talk about it, we don't talk about it. Unfortunately, when you don't talk about something, it doesn't come into fruition because nobody knows anything about it, right? So I'm going to antiquate it to this. If we keep believing that we can't get reparations, then why the hell do we think that we can go over to China and deal with 1 billion Chinese people in a war? And we're not worried about those odds, but we're worried about odds of not getting reparations. I think we have a better chance of getting reparations than we have to do with dealing with 1 billion Chinese people in a war for money that we owe them because they have all our debt.
You have something you want to say?
I was waiting for the host to bring you back in. Am I allowed to speak now?
No, go ahead, man.
I'll keep it real. So yeah, when the reparations goes off the rails, I tune out. So the reason why we keep talking, or our leaders keep talking about reparations, because we all know it's too difficult to execute. The reason why they keep talking about it is because they want to keep Black people angry, and they want to keep getting Black people to vote for Democrats. Now, when we talk about folks who lost their land and it's tangible, we can easily trace the descendants of Tulsa, Oklahoma, all that stuff. Absolutely. But the Democrat president that canceled Special Field Order 15, right? That canceled 40 acres of the mule, right? So it is too far to go back to that. You guys said so much, I don't remember everything, but we can't, it's not going to take us over 200 and something years to close the wealth gap. I believe Black families, Black parents should buy as much life insurance as they possibly can. We can use the same white man system that they use to build wealth, right? We can catch up in one generation, but Black people won't do it because it takes a completely selfless act. For when that kid gets that money, you won't be around to see it, or you don't want to die and some other man get your. And also, I'm against reparations because it doesn't address the root cause of Black people not recycling Black dollars, right? So East Asians and Arabs, they recycle their dollars 45 days. Asians recycle their dollars 29 days. Jews recycle their dollars 17 days. Black people, we recycle our dollars 6 days. I believe those devilish white liberals who are advocating for Black people to get $1 million checks, I think behind closed doors, they know that eventually it's coming back to them.
100%.
Because we don't keep the money in our own community. It doesn't address the root cause of why Black people, we do not recycle Black dollars. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, you mentioned it before, D. Most people don't know that back in Greenwood, Black people recycle their dollars 18 to 24 months. So we got to fix that issue before we start cutting out checks.
Why did they come on, because on this show we're gonna tell the whole story, and I got you on this life insurance. Why did they circulate their money that long back then?
Oh, who's they?
The people you talking about, our people before?
No. Well, I mentioned a few different ethnic groups. You talking about our people?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Why?
Yeah.
Because those families were not infiltrated by white liberals, and they weren't told by their Black allies that we weren't great anymore. That's why we have people like Al Sharpton.
Because we were segregated then. We could not spend our money with nobody else. There was nobody else we could shop with until civil rights came along, and dude, that's why I say y'all need to get in these books.
No. Okay,
So with that, we had more unity. We were all we had, and then this false idea of civil rights came in, and then we felt like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a hat from this white woman or whatever the case is. So you got to add historical context with that. We
no one does that more than I do.
Huh?
Well, so D, the reason why you got that expression from me, because I'm trying to understand, are you advocating for segregation or not? Because you said we weren't allowed to.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, no. Separation is what we need, because you just said it. You alluded to it, but I'm gonna help you out. When we were separated, we were segregated. Yeah, sans the Jim Crow, the lynchings, which is still kind of low key going on today in a lot of places. We were better off. We, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, were able to accept our own and be ourselves. But when we integrated, then we were trying to assimilate to be like the people who did not want us there in the first place. But let me ask y'all brothers this. In California, can you go to Koreatown?
Yeah.
Yes. Is there a Koreatown?
Oh, I get
where you go. You mean go there for to live or a restaurant?
I'm just saying in general. Orange County. Orange County, is there some?
Orange County, Little Saigon, the second biggest Vietnamese community in the world. Koreatown, Chinatown.
Is there a place where Hispanics, which is damn near all of California, but is there a place where they get together? How about the Indian community? And so the reason why I'm bringing these examples up, are they not separate? Why is it when we talk about being separate, that's a bad thing. That when you separate, you could do what you need to do amongst your people without having to worry about dealing with everybody else.
I mean, we separate right now. This podcast is mainly directed toward the Black audience. There are a lot of these events where Black people are separate and alone. I tell you how me and him met, and we grew our relationship is dealing with Black people, going to Black events, trying to educate Black only groups. And it almost cost me my life, and his too.
I want to answer a question. So you said, can we go to Koreatown? Can we go to all those towns, right? Okay, my short answer is yes. There's not one town I cannot and will not go to. And when I was on your podcast last time, G,
hold on. I think you kind of misunderstood me. What I meant was
probably the fact that there is a Koreatown versus like an African town or a Black town. Oh. There's like a small Ethiopia down in LA, that little 18 restaurants.
Let me address your
food is really good.
Let me address your prior point about segregation. So I don't personally believe that everything about the civil rights movement was good for us. Okay. When I watch football, college football on the weekends, on Saturdays, I should be watching Grambling play A&M, right? I shouldn't be watching Alabama play Oklahoma. It's because we had this need to assimilate, and we left Black colleges and Black culture behind. I remember, even though it was 1988, and I told you, 1988, I voted in my first presidential election. I simultaneously voted for George Bush and was pissed off that Mike Tyson didn't put his fights on BET. Make it for us. So it's not mutually exclusive.
Can
you imagine when Mike Tyson was in his prime and he made his fights exclusively on BET? It might still be Black owned.
I mean, it could be. I want to go back to your whole life insurance.
Okay.
Your life insurance theory. I wholeheartedly believe that everybody should have life insurance. I have life insurance. I have life insurance on my daughter. I agree with Walter 100%. If you don't have life insurance and you don't have it on your loved ones, you're a horrible person, because somebody's going to be saddled with that debt of trying to bury you
in your grave when you die.
Assuming you can get it.
Right. Because there's some people. Oops. Did I click? I don't think I clicked Donovan off. I think he clicked off. He'll be back. So there's some people who cannot get it. But to say that life insurance is going to help close the wealth gap, yeah, it will eventually. But that to me sounds like that whole argument of, your heaven is going to be when you die. Heaven should be on earth for everybody. So life insurance, yeah, we need that. But while we live in, we need our reparations check.
Is that going to happen? If we were having a rational conversation without the emotions and everybody getting riled up, are we going to see?
Nobody
No, let me finish.
I'm emotional.
Not necessarily talking about you. I'm saying, are we?
Am I emotional?
No. I'm talking about
I don't know anyone's emotional.
We as a people. This conversation is going on in hundreds of chat rooms and YouTube channels. Black people, we talking about reparations, and we are farthest from getting reparations. The fact that they let all these migrants in and gave them money in the Black communities and moved the Black kids out of the Black schools and on and on and on is one way of saying, not only are we not going to give you reparations, we're going to give your money to somebody else.
First, I'm going to say something. We got to stop saying they. Let's talk about who they are. They are white, liberal Democrats. That's who they are, right? And that's the people who we need to stop voting for.
There's something going on. Where
Maybe I'm next. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just clicking people off, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe I'm next. So if I go off, I'll come back.
This is kind of an interesting topic because, like I said, it has a difference of opinion. I don't necessarily agree that somebody can speak for me and tell me what my reparation. If you don't want your reparations, have at it. Sign your reparations away. But there is no way around the fact that it is a bill that is owed. There's no way around that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Maybe I'll be next. If so, I'll be back.
Yeah, my last comment on reparations, the reason why I don't like it, because I know it's not going to get executed. It keeps Black people stuck in the past. It keeps us dwelling. It keeps us angry. And no growth can come from that. And that's why we keep getting passed up by other ethnic groups.
But let me ask you this. So you're basically saying that we should just let it go and move forward. Now, unfortunately, no. Well, instead of thinking you're saying that it's holding us back, and I kind of see what you're saying. But the thing is, you always got to remember what happened in the past because you're doing the repeated in the future. Thus, we have a housing bubble that's about to happen again if Kamala Harris's economic plan takes effect and she gets back in that White House.
Lord have mercy.
If she gets in the White House, you better load up on bottled water, toilet paper, you better gas in your garage.
Everything. Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you,
it's already been debunked. I mean, it just doesn't make economic sense that you're going to give everybody $25,000, and let's say FBA or the Better Business Loan matches that and gives you $50,000. The average median home in California is $800,000. A shack in California is about $800,000. So that means by the numbers, you would have a house payment, and I'm going to lowball it a little bit, of $3,500 a month. Where are the jobs in California where you can afford a house with a $3,500 payment?
Not many, and that's why you have to start your own business. And I want to address the comment here. Black people, listen.
Are you reading those?
I'm reading. Okay. I'm reading the comments. We have to stop with this shit that life insurance is not for inheritance and is blah, blah, blah. You guys listen to me. This is why Black people suffer, because we argue the silliest shit. Life insurance is made to create wealth and an inheritance. The Jews, the churches, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they left life insurance in assets. Listen, we'll sit up and go to church and praise God and fear and the afterlife is going to be heaven forever. But I guarantee you one damn thing is they will pass that bucket. So we keep sitting and saying life insurance isn't one of the keys. It is the key. I guarantee you, if all of our parents we have lost, or grandparents would have left $200,000 life insurance with an action plan and a trustee, they're forced to buy land. They're going to rent this shit out and they're going to split the rent, and they cannot sell this property, and they get this $200,000 and they're forced to keep it. That would have happened 60 years ago. We'd be having a different conversation. but we will not do it. And this has nothing to do with the white man, because I have life insurance. We can all get it if we're healthy enough. But when you bring it up, indeed, I know you know what I'm talking about, because you sold life insurance to black people, and it was the brokest time of our lives.
And maybe I miscommunicated. I wasn't talking about term life insurance, something like that. I'm talking a little more sophisticated wealth building strategies. And really quick, D, if you allow me to go back to a comment that Walter mentioned when I said we live in a less racist society, and like the left wants to act like it doesn't, that we don't. We live in a less racist society. And in my book, I have a lot of anecdotes. So in 1979, when my parents bought their first home, it was a new development. Someone in the office told the doctor across the street that a black family just opened escrow. So what did that doctor do? He broke escrow. That's okay. 25 years later, when my wife and I bought our first house, we were also the only black family on the block. What did they do? They threw a block party for us. And I said, these white people are crazy. I'm not going to eat their food.
So
that's progress. Okay, I'll give you one more. I said to my son, I said, son, do you ever hear, because I heard it every day growing up in an all-white neighborhood. I heard nigger with the ER every day. So I said, son, do you ever hear nigger at school? And he said, no, Dad. I only hear it when you say it. That's progress. We live in a less racist society. In every room, there's never been a room where I've said, or a building, there's too many white people, I'm not going to go in there. And because I have that worldview, my life has been more fruitful than others who limit their opportunities in life.
Okay, I agree with that. I just want to respond this way. If we live in a less racist society, why is it that in a population of the United States of 300 million people, add in the 13 million illegals, black people who make up supposedly 13% of the population, we are 60% of the homeless in the United States?
But is that still still a racist issue though? Because me and you ain't homeless. He's not homeless.
Well, the thing is, if a group that is a smaller group, the numbers don't even match up statistically. If you are less than, you shouldn't be 60% of the homeless if your group is that small, which goes to show you there's a systematic racism that is making black people become homeless.
No, it's not. That's not true.
It is.
To some degree, there's probably some truth to that.
No.
Wait. Hold on. Let me finish. In 2024, the reason that there's so many homeless black people, what do we not tie to racism? I slept on your couch when I hit rock bottom. And I know what it took to get off my ass and get back on my feet. If every black person did what me and you did to get on our feet, there wouldn't be 60% homelessness. Me and you didn't sit around and talk about the racism. We just got to work. And 2 or 3, 4, 5, 1,600 jobs. Every black person ain't doing that. I hear them bitching and complaining about rights and all this other stuff.
And this is why, as long as a lot of y'all been following me for a long time, and some of y'all are new, welcome. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Beauty with Brains, how you doing? Or what I like to do is I don't like to speak.
What does FBA mean? Are these two
foundational Black Americans? They think y'all from somewhere else the way y'all be here speaking.
I can address that too.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, let her get
ain't got time to address everything now. I actually need to put that down. I
don't know what foundational Black. I don't even know what that means. My parents were.
That means that you're Black American. You got roots here, not like Jamaica or the continent Africa. Like y'all are Black Americans. Like you got lineage here.
But everything that I'm saying, most of it came from my Muslim Black father that told me to get up, go to work, you go get it. That's all he ever said to me.
But you got to tell the whole story, brother, because your Muslim daddy also learned from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that in the back of the Final Call newspaper still has a whole bunch of asks that Black people and the Muslims in America want. And it's been that way since it was Muhammad Speaks. But with that, we're never going to say that there's not institutional and systemic racism. That has a lot to do with it. Because anytime in 2024, you can still hear the government talking about running freeways through people's lands and where Black people live. That is systemic and institutional racism. Donovan, tell me about the SoFi Stadium. Give me a little history.
Stadium, $6 billion stadium, $6 billion stadium. And what they did was Maxine Waters, it has a part of that area.
A Black Democrat.
Right, a Black Democrat. What they did was they public domained people's homes and gave them market price and moved them out of the area. And now when you go down to South Central Los Angeles, where the stadium is, you don't see any Black people in that area. And the homes in that area are worth $1 million.
Yeah, because they bought them out.
Okay, but tell me also, Donovan, so we got to educate people.
And I know, and my uncle lives there.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen when the Olympics come in 2028?
Oh, the youngest person in sight.
Yeah, they're sweeping it now. I mean, it's no secret why this thing came down in California, and the Supreme Court of California said they've got authorization to move these people, even if by force, out of the way because the Olympics is coming. And by the way, not only did SoFi Stadium open up, the Clippers' new stadium opened up, which is a $2-point-something billion stadium, so that the Clippers can play basketball there. And in those areas, which is a predominantly Black area, though people were moved out and moved out at no choice of their own.
So
Black politicians.
Let's stay right there though. Let's stay right there because we're gonna do some math. Was that a ferry that came and did that, or was that some sort of system? And Donovan, what system did that to them Black people there in Los Angeles?
Yes, that was a city council, and the Los Angeles City Council people voted all that in.
And is that the same one that's going to do it to them again? The two that's left in Los Angeles in 2028?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what we talking about, systemic racism. That's what we talking about.
Those are Black people, one, two. The comment was, we are in a less racist society. No one said there's not racism.
How?
We are in a less racist society.
Donovan is my encyclopedia today. I got your notification too. It's my encyclopedia.
You keep telling Black people racism is nothing. They ain't gonna never do nothing.
Hold on, brother, because it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. Okay, Donovan, what did Malcolm X say about progress?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank on that.
I know you are, but you got it. He says if somebody sticks a knife in your back, how many inches? 6 inches is 12 inches, and they pull it out 6. Is that progress?
That's not progress. Because they haven't done anything to heal the wound.
And they should have never stuck it in there in the first place.
Okay, but you asking people to undo and change and be different and heal the wounds. That ain't gonna never happen. Here's my case. It's never gonna happen. We're asking something that's never gonna happen. The Easter Bunny is not showing up. There is no white Santa Claus, but we keep waiting for him. At what point do we say this is what we should have, but this is what is going to happen, and find somewhere in the middle? It blows me away. You can call me what you want. I'm not foundational Black.
No, you two are foundational, and
Black people, we're the only ones to call our people something when we don't agree with them. We call them out of their name.
Wait. Now y'all get out y'all feelings. Get out your feelings.
No, it's not about feelings. I'm just saying.
Get out your feelings.
We can have different opinions.
This ain't about that. Let me give you a little bit more intel, okay? What it is FBA is a new term. Foundational Black Americans, been around for the last 5 years, give or take, right? That's
the first time I've ever heard it.
But what it is there are people that come from other countries that look like us, but they don't walk and talk like us. In fact, they have a disdain for Black Americans. They too talk about how we don't deserve reparations and this, that, and the other, and they talk like that as well, which is why some in the comment section are wondering what your lineage is. That's where that comes from.
I could address that if I may.
Yeah, so I just want y'all to know that's not coming from a place of hate. It's a hate of where these brothers come from. That's what that is.
Me and my sister, we have the same parents.
Let me tell you where I come from, because I got closer to the screen so I can see the comments. So let me be clear. Okay. So D, I told you that I first identified with the social and political right when I was 9 years old, living in Inglewood, California, right across the street from the Forum and what is now SoFi. Okay. I lived on East 99th Street in Century Boulevard. I grew up eating syrup sandwiches, drinking sugar water, government pickles. I watched my grandmother, who had a 6th grade education from Mississippi, never had a driver's license. I watched her make pork chops that she bought with food stamps. Okay. And so black people have been calling me all kind of names and Oreo and whitewashed. And unlike Kamala Harris, I am FBA. It runs in my blood. And to go back to a point that you made, Donovan, about letting things go, I choose to honor our ancestors who come from one of the 13 slave states. I choose to honor them differently than most Black Americans do. Okay. So there's I've met just because I haven't followed the propaganda that white liberals and Black allies have tried to shove down our throats. Just because I look out the window and I see nothing but opportunities, it doesn't mean I'm whitewashed. It doesn't mean I'm an Oreo. I tell my children the world is theirs. They can do whatever they want. I tell my children the same thing that I know LeBron James tells his children, but when he gets on a microphone, he tells my son he's being hunted by cops. It's all designed to keep us weak, angry, and voting for people to keep them rich.
Donovan, I can see you itching.
No, like I said,
go ahead, Donovan. You can get this work.
Yeah, no.
I've been doing this since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, no. To each his own. Whatever works for an individual. See, and this is the thing in politics. That's why it's ludicrous that Black people give a majority of our vote to one party. Everybody should be different, have different opinions, because your experience might not be the same as mine or whatever. So whatever works. But in regards to the systematic racism in 2008, when they did an analysis of what happened in 2008, Black people as a whole, in the United States, 1/3 of all Blacks lost our wealth as a group. We were the only group that does that. So again, I'm going to reinforce the systematic racism that still exists to this very day. And it seems to me, for some reason, it is always targeted to Black people. And as far as the Los Angeles City Council, 2 years ago, Nuri Rodriguez and all of those Hispanics were caught on the mic admitting they were doing systematic stuff to move Black people out of the city.
And so they're Democrats too.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. So here's my problem with systematic racism.
Wait, hold on. I think we're getting it confused here. It don't matter if they Democrats or Republican. There's a racist in every party. Republican probably got the most racists. They're racist in every party.
Being Black in America is sometimes choosing the lesser of two evils. So let me address the systematic racism. So I believe systematic racism exists, but I'm an advocate of pointing the finger where it belongs. And then I always think your argument is disingenuous because you cherry pick the racism you want to point out. Black women, let me finish my thought.
Hold that thought real quick. I'm not putting anybody in timeout. I see a couple of y'all saying people are going in timeout. It's not me. Y'all don't put people in timeout unless they really just saying something that's just, over there, right? So that's not me. Let's give people grace unless they really acting a donkey up in here. All right, go ahead.
Okay, Donovan. So systematic racism exists, but far too often Black people, they want to pick and choose of what racism they want to point out. So Black women ages 15 to 45, childbearing years, make up about 3% of the population, but nearly 40% of the abortions. That is systematic racism. Before MLK, who was the ultimate Black ally, allowed white liberals into our families, nearly 8 out of 10 Black children were raised by mom and dad. Now that's completely flipped. That's systematic racism. But I wonder, how can you even point that out? You talk about homelessness and stuff like that. And by the way, I live in Altaloma, right? A few years ago, there was tens of thousands of houses wiped out when they completed the 210 freeway from San Dimas to the 15 to go to Vegas. I didn't hear one person say racism. It was progress.
Oh yeah, they wiped out whole cities to build that freeway, and they're gonna continue doing it. It just LA the SoFi is that's a phenomenal area. It breaks my heart that was black people.
Yeah, and it's that's not Los Angeles is just a small example of that going on all over, right? But to say that
it happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
Right. But you two just was talking about there ain't no systemic and institutional racism.
That's not what we said. We said it's not as bad.
Hold on.
That's what we said. It's not
as obvious. It's not as obvious. And it may not, you're not gonna walk out in the middle of the street and get lynched up, or whatever the case is. So you ain't gonna walk in somebody's business and tell you, they gonna tell you something. Watson, don't sit up here and lie to kick it. It wasn't institutional, systemic, but you was selling your house in Conroe and that white man talked to you like you was a Negro on the street.
Okay, but here's the cool thing about that.
What I'm saying.
No. But I was a home. But the difference is,
wait.
I was a homeowner, and I told him to kiss my ass.
Wait. Don't overtalk me. When y'all talk, I don't say a word. I sit here with my mic on mute and let y'all talk. So y'all sitting up here talking about things are less racist now. That's 2023. You sold that house. That white man stood in your face in the house that you hadn't even sold over to him, talking about you don't give me the key. I'm calling the police on you. In 2023, so y'all sitting up here talking about ain't no racism. You made that. Wait a minute. Wait.
That's not what I said.
Wait. Hold on. Let
no. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. I'm gonna mute y'all mics. That's not how that works.
So
that's not how that works.
Let the record reflect.
I said, let me finish talking. I'll let y'all talk. What I'm saying is, your examples of, it's not that racist or it's less racist does not erase the fact that there is still racism going on. That's an individual thing, but there's a whole host of Black people out there that will tell you that they experience racism, whether it's covert or overt. Now, y'all go ahead.
Sure if you're
we're missing the no, go ahead.
I said I'm not sure if you are taking me out of context or misquoting me on purpose. So what I said to you and Donovan and your viewers, I said we are less racist than we were. I didn't say there are no circumstances of racism. Of course that still exists. When I encounter a racist, I take my talent and my resources down the block, and that racist will eventually lose. As a matter of fact, the most racist people to me have been my own kind, right? Because I'm different. I vote different. I walk different. I dress different.
What's the definition of racism?
I'm sorry?
What's the definition of racism?
Looking at my skin color and thinking it's the most important thing about me when I walk in the room. That's racism. Thinking because I share the same skin color of your viewers, they assume that I should think like them.
They're not assuming that. They're not assuming.
And that's why they make those negative comments.
No.
Whitewashed.
Listen, I listen. I know it's hard to hear about ourselves sometimes, but y'all saying some real funky stuff up on here, okay? Y'all saying a whole lot of stuff that, and I don't disagree with some of it, but the old racism ain't that bad because you could live in Altaloma across the street from white folks and all that your son don't go to school and be called no N-word. That don't mean that ain't no, it's less racist. They probably call him that behind his back though.
Yeah, you're missing the point. It's behind his back though.
Racism is not my biggest hurdle in life. That's my point.
That's you. That is not your biggest racist. That's not your biggest hurdle. And admittedly, it's not necessarily mine,
Whose is it?
That's for one thing, I don't go outside like that, okay? But let me finish, okay?
What?
Yeah, because I just don't. I
But I'm
work
saying,
at
but
home.
whose
But
hurdle
that
is it?
don't,
Though?
but that don't, you two, honestly, y'all are very dismissive. And I think that's where a lot of people are really just getting that nails on the chalkboard thing, because it's like y'all very dismissive, like, oh no, this doesn't happen to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Nah.
Then you're missing the point. You guys, and we have to come to some sort of center. We can't be like
I
the
don't know
left
how
saying
much time we got.
that's what you guys said. That no one's ever said that. The point that was made is it's not as bad. Like somebody will call you a nigger, it will be behind your back. I know for a fact.
Can't really use that word too much on here.
Oh, well, whatever the N-word. I know I've experienced racism in a bunch of it. But the point being is I keep moving. That racism is never going to go away. Ever, ever, ever. So I'm not going to sit here.
It doesn't faze me at all.
Fighting something that's never going to change. But what I am sick of is hearing about it. Every time I turn on the TV, black this, black that. You got to be 10 times better if you're a black person. I get tired of that shit. I just want to get up and move. My race, none of that stuff. That when I wake up and get going, the sun doesn't go, hey, he's a black dude. I don't hear, I just get up and I work my ass off. Yeah, is there racism? Sure. And to your point, that white dude that bought my house made a comment to me, and I told him to kiss my ass. I called my real estate agent and said, I'm not selling to this cracker. Let's keep it pushing. And she called me losing her mind, and so did he. So I own that house in an all-white neighborhood with crackers on the left, crackers on the right. And you know, my neighbor to the left tried to get funky with me by putting his fence on my property. And I hit his ass with the book, and he moved his fence.
And the other
Not only did he move his fence,
and the other one put up a what you call that, the Confederate flag message that was going to interfere with your Airbnb business.
She had a Confederate flag when I moved in, and she took the flag down based on me and her having dinner together. And while we're talking about it, that Confederate flag, I had to whoop that lady off of me coming to my house for cocktail hour. Oh, I have a friend that thinks you're attractive. Invite me to the honky tonk, the bar. It was on and cracking. I had to tell them, white people, get away from me now, please. I got work to do. So yeah, there's some racism, but I stood my ground. And as a homeowner, I made my own rules. And I sold it to that turkey, and he getting his ass whooped. I'm about to buy it back for half.
I'm in this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be done. Okay. So, in my mission in life, and what I'm doing, I realize that Black people our age, the deception is deep with most. I want to talk to my target demographic are young people, because I want them to know what I learned. Okay. I learned 25, 30 years ago that white men are not as talented as we're led to believe they are, and we can compete with them. Matter of fact, they're less talented because the world is made for them to succeed, and they're not good hunters. We pull our pants up, we show up on time, and we learn how to solve problems, right? So I told you I was born to an unwed teenage mother, August 19th, 1970, okay? It was told to me by my aunts and uncles that my daddy came to the hospital high and drunk the night I was born, okay, as his first child.
I mean,
so now you're gonna cut me off?
No, well, it's not.
Are you gonna mute my mic again?
Listen, I need.
Can I finish? Can I finish my anecdote?
Because we don't have a lot of time. We actually went over time, and you know, we have heard your story before, and it's a dynamic one. I will say, clearly, we have different sets of belief systems. We are not going to agree, and that is okay. But I just want to say there's people from all. Yeah, there's people from.
We don't need to.
There's people from all age groups that's watching this channel. It's not just people who are our age. There's young people, there's older people, so there's a lot of people. And I'll tell you this: me doing this for as long as I've done it, Donovan's done it for the same amount of time as I've been doing it. We don't have people agree with us a lot. I mean, hell, I'm on 2 other platforms and I get called everything but a child of God a lot of times, and I laugh. I don't get in my feelings about it because I don't expect for everybody to agree with me. But on this show, when there are some things that are said that are kind of, make you raise an eyebrow, we want to question it. And I think the problem, Walter and Terrell, that y'all have, God bless you, is y'all don't want nobody to question you. And if they do, y'all think that they, in some words, and I don't want to really put words in your mouth, but this is just my take on it, they're beneath you. Like you guys are disagreeing with me because, some people just feel like if you don't agree with me, something wrong with you. It's okay. People don't agree with you. You guys are saying some pretty, outlandish things, and I get it, But
it's outlandish to you, D.
Oh, that's outlandish to quite a few people. I'm looking at these comments.
But I guess my question would be, which part is outlandish? Like
that y'all up here talking about racism ain't as bad as it used to be.
It's not.
Okay, well,
that's your personal. That's your personal opinion. That ain't you. Your personal opinion is not ubiquitous to everybody.
Well, no, of course not. We don't have to agree on that. We live in California where we don't see it as much. Yeah, it's probably worse here because we have liberals running the place, but we don't really see it as much. Now, when I was in Texas down near the water, I'm speaking my Kamala voice. When I was near the water, I felt it. That time I drove to New Mexico when me and you was on the phone, I was doing a Facebook Live, and the dude was like, "What in the hell, a Negro?" I get it. I have seen that. And I kept moving. But it's all around us. But at one point, you have to say, "I'm going to control the narrative, and I'm going to keep going." Because if I stopped every time somebody called me a nigger, or I would be sitting on my couch complaining. So that's all I'm saying. It's maybe the systematic racism is still there, but Black people have the right to move. Donovan's sitting there comfortably. You living comfortably. Most of us on this chat are living a comfortable life. Back in the days, Black people could not do what we are doing today. And that's the point we're trying to make. Yeah, of course, systematic racism is still there. You can watch the DNC tonight and see it front and center. It's still there. People losing their mind. We got to protect this Black woman. And I've never heard someone out of their mouth say, "I'm not doing nothing for you. Let me be clear." And then everybody run behind her. That blows me away. That breaks my heart about Black people when I see that shit. At least Obama had African blood, and at least he, was, and it wouldn't even say he wasn't even, I guess you'd call it, a descendant of slave. His father was from Africa. So, I mean, if we want to really split hairs.
Yeah, we have yet to have an FBA president, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, and it really shouldn't matter the color of our president, as long as we get the bag. Leave our taxes alone. Leave our kids alone. Stop telling our kids they need to switch their sexes when they're 6 years old. Stop aborting our babies left and right. You know what I'm saying? Put the father back in place. And it's okay for her to have a man around.
I'm still trying to think what I said was so outlandish. Keeping Black families together, the importance of Black fathers. We shouldn't be aborting our babies. We can solve problems. We can walk into every room. What is so outlandish about that? Right. And I'm going to finish my story.
Well, nobody said that was
I'm going to finish my story. So I was born to an unwed teenage mother. We lived on food stamps, drank sugar water, ate syrup sandwiches. And when my first child was born, Goldman Sachs sent her a Tiffany Company piggy bank. So it can happen. So my point isn't, I'm not talking down to anyone, is to be inspirational. If I could do it, I can come from the ghetto. I can come from a slave state. I can come from an 18-year-old mother. So can you.
I mean, that's a good point.
And sometimes we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, it's the aspect of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self. And the problem is, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not, if somebody is feeding you and housing you, that same person can starve you and make you homeless. And this is the problem predominantly in our community, where we are so dependent on the government, which is what the Democrats put a lot of Black people on to where we can't fend for ourselves. I mean, I honestly believe people don't wake up and grow up and say, you know what, I just want to go right into the strip club. I want to just go do this, all these things that happen, self-reliance. But this is a thing that the Nation of Islam has been saying for years, Malcolm X, and on and on and on. And it's unfortunate that in today's smartphone educated Google society, people are less likely to Google the information and rather go with the soundbite. And that's just where we're at.
Donovan, that's strong. That's the point. There's a lot of people, they don't read the whole thing. It's kind of like the 2025 thing and this and all these things, and no one's even read it. It's just it's scare tactics. And for those of you that keep asking where I'm from, actually, me and Dee have the same mom and dad, which is so me and Dee had this conversation every day.
I have a question for you.
My dad always says, out of all of my children, you're the only one that's like me, that has listened and taken this information and you're running with it. He has said that. So go on.
So Dee, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
So last time, and you kind of said something similar today. Last time you said that you have in fact looked at a building and said, there's too many white people in that building. I'm not going in there. You remember telling me that?
I say that a lot.
Okay. So I've known your brother for 25 years, and I know he doesn't have that worldview. And you guys keep saying that you were raised by the same mom and dad. So I want to know who taught you that mindset, or did you have some traumatic experience?
Well, Walter was taught that mindset too. Okay, don't get it twisted. Walter was taught that mindset too. I'm just one of those people. I listen to wisdom, and I deem the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to be very wise, and that he says we should not be around too many of them. Okay. Now I use that example when I went to New Orleans, Jefferson Square. I didn't know a lot about it, but my instincts did not want me to go in there. They were having something in there, and I looked. There was a bunch of white people up in there. And then when I talked to a Black gentleman, he said, "Oh yeah, that's where they used to trade slaves." I said, "See, I knew something was going on, but I'm one of those people. I'm just not comfortable around a whole lot of them. That's just, I've always been that way. It's not that I'm afraid of them. I like my people."
I guess it just depends on where you are too. I mean, I live in California. I am.
She's from California.
Well, I mean, but she's in Texas now, and down south is different. I'm extremely comfortable around all races. It's never been a thing to me to walk into a room and go, "Oh, there's a bunch of white people." Matter of fact, if I'm telling you, as God is my witness, if me and this dude walked into a room full of 99% white people, we would have to beat these fools off of us. It is non-stop. We would go to dinner. My God, it would be like, what is going on with these people? And I don't know if they see Black people and go, "Oh, wow, they came inside." Or I don't know if it's that, or I don't know what it is. But as a Black man in this country, you are top billing. I promise you. That's not a room we cannot walk into.
Why are you top billing as a Black man in this country?
One, most people want what we have. They want our strength, our energy, our smarts, our ability to overcome. I'll leave some of the other stuff off the podcast. They want some of that too.
If you're top billing in this country, why aren't Black men further ahead?
That's what I'm saying. This is what we were trying to say earlier. A lot of it has to do with attitude. Meaning, when I was in Texas, your referral to me, the guy to do my yard, was a brother. He had his own business, and me and him talked about starting things and making money. That was our whole conversation the whole time, and we were surrounded by whites. Not once did we ever talk about the white man or systematic racism. We talked about having our own businesses. And I think if Black men realize how powerful we are and just roll with that, it would be a different conversation. I promise you, if Black men said, "I am the king and I'm going to keep it moving," some of that stuff would disappear.
So, in my opinion, in addition to the systematic racism perpetrated on the Black race in this country by leftist white liberals who typically vote for Democrats, in addition to that, we do it to ourselves as well. So really quickly, Dee, 25 years ago, I was being recruited to join this organization. So I went to the Richard Nixon Library, 200 people, all white. Steve Forbes was the keynote speaker. One black person, me, one Asian. Okay. There was a break in the action. All the white men got up and they started networking and shaking hands. What do you do? What do you do? And you know who they included? Me. Okay. A week later, me and this dude, we were at the
Yep, I know you're talking about
the Black Sports Agent Association, and Steve McKeever was the keynote speaker. You know, Hidden Beach, Steve McKeever. So when there was a break in action, all the black men in the room sat quiet with their arms crossed, guarding their power. We don't help each other out the way other cultures help. Now I'm back to recycling dollars again. So in addition to the systematic racism, we do a lot of this shit to ourselves. And especially when someone like me and him, we step away from the monolithic mindset and thinking, we get these comments.
Yeah.
I've been getting these comments since I was 12 years old. It ain't nothing new.
Well,
And by the way, those that is not. That's why I asked y'all the definition of racism. So you're saying that some of these people here who are disagreeing with you are racist?
I didn't say that.
Well, so what are you talking about?
No, D, I specifically answered your question. When you said, what is the definition of racism? I said, when people look at my skin color and they think it's the most important thing about me, and then they form opinions and stereotypes, and they judge me based on the melanin in my skin, that is a definition of racism.
What was you just saying about people making comments and being racist?
I didn't say racist. I said people making these comments about me. And by the way, black people can be racist against other black people. I've been called Oreo my entire life. Last time I was on your show, your guest, your viewers accused my wife of being black, of being white. Excuse me. They accused my wife of being white.
Right, but we cleared that up.
They said, "Oh, he didn't vote for Obama."
Which
I didn't.
Okay. Hold on.
No, I didn't.
So y'all sensitive?
No. We're just being funny.
Y'all a little tender.
I'm saying no, because we had dinner because Monday was my birthday and he had dinner with me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I had dinner with his black wife. We were just joking around. It's funny. You talk about black women. We battle over dating black women. Trust me, I know you can feel one way based on someone's speech, but like the way we feel about something, our race shouldn't have anything to do with it. You know, me and Dee, we were raised in South Central LA, and then we would go back to Santa Barbara, Ventura. And I heard a couple names, you know, I'd hear the word nigger once in a while. It just happened.
You see, he keeps saying that word, D. You asked him not to.
I'm sorry. I'm just using it in context. I've heard the N-word, but when we would go back to South Central LA, it got heated. It was non-stop. You sound like a white dude. You speak proper English. It was on and on and on. If I can find that video of my sister dancing, doing the Saturday Night Live to Another One Bites the Dust.
I feel like Queen. I went and saw the movie and everything. Let me read this comment. More Threads, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. Says everybody can be prejudiced. This it just came up right in the nick of time. Everyone can be prejudiced. To be racist, however, you must have the power to negatively impact groups of people on a systemic and structural level, such as jobs, housing, health, education, and criminal justice. That's why I was asking him that. And neither one of them were able to speak to that. They were talking about being called names and skin color, but that is absolutely right. Racism is about systems and institutional systems, if you will. And black people do not have the power to do that to you. So yeah, they may call you a name or judge you, but they don't make them racist. Y'all no power. You just said that y'all saying out your own mouth. Anybody got no power to do that to you?
So first of all, okay, I agree with that statement, but I would just swap out the terms prejudice for racist. Black people can't be racist towards one another, but prejudice comes with power. Prejudice means I control if you get this job or this loan, and no one is denying. I haven't denied any of that.
Yes,
I haven't denied any of that. So he was right, but he needs to change his words around a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, prejudice is power. That is
prejudice is power. What was his name?
prejudice. How's prejudice? We're gonna get out of here because we are way over time. How's prejudice power?
I just said it, D.
How?
You can determine if someone gets the job or the loan based on their ethnic background.
That's not the definition of prejudice. Prejudice is a preference.
Right. You prefer not to hire that person. You guys are both right. You're both right. Prejudice.
So we prejudice. Wait.
Matter. I'm not going to stop, and I feel sorry for black people.
Right. So what is you talking about? Right? Black people could be racist because if they don't have no power over you, then how can they be racist to you?
No. He's saying they're two different words. Racism and prejudice are two different words.
Correct.
I can be racist against you, but if I'm prejudiced, I can stop you.
We all can be prejudiced. We can all be prejudiced. No. Prejudice is a preference, and if black people we don't own jobs and corporations, we don't have the ability to be racist.
I mean, I have to open up. I have been somewhat. I'm gonna say this, and I don't know how to say it properly, so maybe you can correct it. I have my businesses, and the first thing I've done is try to hire black people in every venture that I've gone on. I've hired black people first. When I worked at American Express, I dealt with black people. My candle company, the clothing line, I hired black people. There's a black woman on my website. Black people, indeed, me and you talk about this. I hired 3 or 4 black people first before I go out the race. Is that not some sort of prejudice that I'm hiring black people first?
Nah, you supposed to hire your own first. Everybody else does. Yeah, that's a form of prejudice, but yeah, you supposed to consider Negroes is y'all. You know what? No.
You're making my point though.
Stop. You two, and I've never said this in life before on this show, are not welcome back on this show. Goodbye.
What?
I'm not with the foolishness. I'm sorry. I'm not with the foolishness. Next caller. Next caller.
Your blocking game is getting better and better as time goes.
I'm sick of the foolishness. I blocked somebody on social media today as well. Blocked.
Right. Well, see. I noticed in the chat somebody was saying that I'm being very, very quiet and things like that, and that's because sometimes you just got to let people talk. And that's all you got to do, and just let them talk, And I'm not saying I disagree with a lot of what they were saying. It's just the idea of it kind of contradicted some things, so it was kind of contradicting.
You get your ratings up. Was this stage? It was not stage. It was, and y'all know Walter. For those y'all don't know, Walter is my biological brother, and I don't want to disparage him because he's not on here to defend himself, but we weren't raised like that. Of course, we were raised to do for self, which we all do, right? We are, came from entrepreneurs. My father has been a mechanic since he's 19 years old, has never worked for anybody, had one job. He worked for, I think it was Ferrari. He scratched a car and they fired him and they would not pay him. And from that point, he was like, nah, I'm going to work for myself. And he has ever since. My father's also Nation of Islam, since he was 19 years old. We were born into the Nation of Islam. Some of us, me, followed those teachings. As my father has always said, you're the only one of my children that are like me. You listen. I do. My dad, every day he calls me, tells me something new. He's giving me books on books on books. He says, I know you'll read them and I know you'll go and teach what you have learned. But like I said, maybe like the second time I've done that. But what I'm not about is confusion. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care if they get mad, if they still watching. Those two brothers are very confused. They are in love with white folks, and they would rather talk bad about their people and disparage their own people than to really just call a thing a thing. We know that Black people give away a lot of money. We need to stop doing that. We know that. But we're always going to tell the other side of the story, and that Black people have had it the worst in this country. Now, God rest the dead. Phil Donahue died a couple of days ago, and I say this about Phil Donahue, is he was courageous enough to have your Farrakhan's, your Khalid Muhammad's, Shahrazad Ali, and a whole host of other people on there when a lot of mainstream media wouldn't have them on there. And on that very show, Farrakhan says Yeah, the Jews, because the lady was saying something about the Holocaust. Yeah, the Jews went through something, but what Black people have gone through here in America will make a brass monkey shed a tear, right? And then you got brothers like that, which one of them is my biological brother, get on here and try to be uppity to Black people and dismiss our experiences, but they don't never run. I don't hear nobody like them to run around telling Jewish people, Asians, Mexicans, nobody else, you don't need what you getting, but they gonna talk to us like that. Hell, this country would not even be able to survive if it was not for Black people. This country was built off of the backs of Black people. And yeah, we silly enough to go vote for a party that don't do nothing for us and do for everybody else. We need to stop that. But what we're never going to do is downplay what our people have gone through and are still going through in this country, because I feel like I can live next door to white people. Because nobody called my son the N-word because you was called that back in 1972. It's silly. It's silly. Now, I know a lot of people, they try to get clicks and likes and views. I'm not necessarily one of those people, because if I was that way, I'd do a whole lot of foolishness on here to get that. There's a lot of things Donovan and I, we have our ups and downs, but Donovan and I are on the same page. We're making sure we get the information out. Like Donovan say, we learn from y'all. Y'all learn from us, but we don't never want to be on here misleading. So until further notice, them brothers ain't coming back on here. That's just the way it is. Unless they want to come on here, you know what? I give them some assignments, and that's for anybody that want to come on here. Don't come on here being misleading and and talking a bunch of nonsense. I impress upon you getting some goddamn books. Excuse my French. Now the me outside of this computer is starting to come out. Whoa, Nelly, get in these books. Study some history. Because I want to know, how the hell you writing a book? And Terrell, I know you still watching. How the hell you writing a book and you half cocked? How you writing the book and you got half the information? How you can sit up and talk about Black people don't deserve reparations and you can't even speak to it? You giving us the history lesson of this, that, and the other, but you don't know, you giving us your history lesson of somebody who probably getting it from somebody else who got the story wrong. See, my daddy is 80 years old. My daddy is closer to Jim Crow. And I'd imagine when he was born, Jim Crow was going on. See, I listened to my dad. I listened to all those stories. But those two gentlemen that was just here, they own some whole other stuff. In some regards, we call them whitewash. Now, I think I've been very gracious. I like to give people opportunity to say what they got to say, but my integrity is on the line. Donovan's integrity is on the line. And I will be remiss to let those two jokers, and I mean that in love because I know both of them. So none of this was really a surprise to me. But I would be remiss to sit up here and just let that fly. I'm sorry, I could not do it anymore. As I said, when I turned 53, something snapped in me. It's just a lot of things I can't do no more. I cannot with the foolishness. So those of y'all who are new on here, and those of y'all who followed Donovan and I when it was just 20 people watching, I love you guys dearly. And I want to make sure y'all get the best programming possible. That is my goal. And I tell you right now, I don't do this for money. Although what you guys, send in is nice, but I don't do it for that. I do it for the love of Black people. Because there's a lot of things. Donovan right now itching to get his ass up off of here because we both said we was getting out of here in an hour. We're trying to cut these shows low, but there's a lot of things that Donovan and I could be doing other than spending 3 days a week live on here having this conversation. There's a lot. I could be sitting my ass in this bed right now because I like to go to bed early. Okay, have my hair twisted up in my little buckwheat twist. Donovan seen them. I could be there's a lot of things I could be doing. But the point that I'm making is I do this for the love of my people, and I never want you guys to question Donovan and I and our agenda, okay? Walter and Terrell, they could take that circus on a lot of other platforms, and they'll love it. They'll eat it up because, unfortunately, there is a lot. Donovan, what I always say, we say this a lot. If we was Conan.
Yeah.
Do you know how wealthy we could? Donovan and I, we some smart motherfuckers. Excuse my French. Between Donovan and I, we are very, very intelligent people. Do you know we could be sitting on the hill somewhere, looking over a sunset with over a beach? With the kind of money we would be making if we do that kind of stuff. Oh, black people, you just need to stop in between y'all on the bootstraps, and there's no such thing as racism. Y'all know how wealthy we could be. Yeah, we would be wheelbarrows of just rest.
It's true. It's true. Very true.
But we don't do that because selling ourselves out means we sell y'all out too. And we're not going to do that for no amount of money. I promise you that. So anyway, I would love got to all your comments. Hey, Judge, how you doing? Sunday, if Donovan may be busy, I'm not quite sure, but I will be back here Sunday. Donovan, what do you have to say in closing?
I just have to say in closing again, we have to take in love our brothers and our sisters in their opinions and stuff. And, and their opinions could be far left, far right, or whatever the deal is. And we might not agree with it. But at the same time, like we say on this show all the time, at the end of the day, no matter what you hear on this platform, research what you hear on this platform. If you hear something, and we challenge you to research what we're saying and then come to your own opinion at the end of the day.
Yep. So we're going to get out of here. I know it was silly season, but you know what? Now we know. Okay. We'll be back. We're going to stay vigilant, Damon. We'll be back Sunday. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to watch the DNC and Donovan will too, against our will, but this is what we do. Anyway, we love y'all. Hey, Brina. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Peace.